I came to some profound insights about trauma tonight in the group, and I wanted to share it with you because you're the people who are on the forefront in this journey with me. Conclusions first. All traumatic memory is in the mind and is retained because people are identified with the memory. And what that means is, I am my memory, I am my trauma, or I am my good times, which are also kind of trauma. We'll get to that later. And the only real solution is disidentification with the mind. And this is where the methods I've been proposing are different than what all the contemporary trauma specialists think they're doing. In fact, they're helping people disidentify a little bit, but they never come right out and say, the mind is the problem. And trauma gradually morphs into ordinary experiences, into what you call positive experiences, as long as the experience and the experiencer are identified. It's a trauma. It gets the same processing. Disidentification is with the attachment, because the attachment is me and mommy, me and you. You can trace that all the way back through not only all mammals, but even through birds and lots of reptiles. I don't know how far down in the animal kingdom it goes. And this idea of me and you, self and other, is the basis of all thought. Because when you are not there, I make a you, a small one, composed of my thoughts, which are put on the deeper ideas of you. So the reason people hang on to their traumas or their problems or their stories is it's all they think they are. And in the course of this group tonight, it got clear to me, by looking into myself and the other people, that if I stop thinking about my problems, if I stop worrying about my trauma, real and imaginary, past and future, who am I? Without my worries and my supposed celebrations, I'm nobody. I'm just, a balloon floating in space. Then I was able to make more sense all of a sudden out of my recent experiences with the Tate's pain cream, which I continue to use twice a day, that I would often wake up at 5 in the morning with some particular feeling and some whole batch of memories, not necessarily trauma memories, but somehow they all made sense together. But a couple days ago, after having possibly some of my deepest meditative experiences listening to Osho in the sense of, there's nobody there, that night I had these dreams of suicide and terrible things happening and stuff like that. And as I watched it for a few hours, which is my habit when I get up 5, 6 in the morning, I just watch the mind, whether it's waking or dreaming. And gradually this energy comes and everything just goes away. And I feel present in the silence. But it got clearer and clearer to me that I hang on to my worries and fears because it's who I am at the moment. Without that, there's just this big blissful emptiness. So that's the essence of what I understood from tonight. That most therapies try and give you a different story or help you accept your story. But it's not necessary to get lost in the story and telling it over and over and bringing up all the pain and all that. Anything that helps you realize it's just a story and I'm not it. Let's go of it. And that's my story for tonight.
Well, I understood exactly what you were saying, and I get it. I absolutely get it. Because I know the last thing you do is you are gripped by fear in your last moments. And if you identify with it, you reincarnate. If you observe it and see the separation, you do not reincarnate. I get it. You understand. You have experienced what I get. Good.
And that's at the final end of life. But you're talking about deploying this while we're still here, living the life. So,
which is a hard thing to do, because that struggle for survival is so gripping. This was good. I think this is your Bodhicitta. Well done, and you explained it so well.
You know, you're Obi-Wan Kenobi in this.
well, and I mean, you are the one who has the most practice at this from anybody, because that's been your job for the last several decades, is listening to people's stories of woe and intrigue, and then you have to stay detached from that story so that you can help them to see how to become detached from their story. So, and also it would just be like an emotional drag for you if you got embroiled in the stories, right? So how have you done that all this time?
You know, that's the last 60 years.
Yeah.
When I was a resident 60 years ago, I got involved enough in somebody's story to go down and try and rescue her in her apartment in Greenwich Village and stuff like that. And, you know, that's a big part of being a psychiatrist or a healer of any kind, is to learn that it's nothing personal, that the healing doesn't involve taking a role in the other person's story, but helping them transcend the story, and that the love that happens in the healing encounter allows them to be more aware for a while so that they can see it's just a story.
Yeah.
And it's not that you don't care, you're full of compassion to help them by not, getting embroiled in the story. So that's what ends up helping them, even though you're not, sympathetic or, embroiled in their story.
Compassion is of the being. It's the transformation of anger, whereas playing a part in the story is part of our animal nature, which is attachment.
Yes.
It's what I said about all attachment is the root of all thought. And to transcend that, you have to let go of not only you, but me, because they're both ideas.
And that role of the therapist and the patient, that translates, like you said, to myself and myself, that I can become detached from my problems and worries and look at them and, I don't know which is myself or which isn't myself, but end up, without that, becoming embroiled in my own story. I
In
like
my
that.
meet with Osho 44 years ago, he said, have you done any of the groups in the West? I said, I did all the groups. And he laughed and he said, anybody who's connected in any way with therapy, psychotherapy, psychoanalysis, anything, is doing my work. They awaken a thirst that only I can satisfy. And I'm coming to understand that more profoundly.
And it is a thirst that everybody has, but it turns into angst because they don't know where to drink or what to drink. So they have all the angst and anxiety and PTSD, but you're helping guide and direct, to that water trough.
That's another essential difference in my understanding of PTSD and the understanding that everybody else thinks they have. I see that we have this third force, if you will, in us of yearning to be one with the divine. And the unsolvable contradiction in the mind that every trauma sufferer has. How could this happen? My mother deserted me and almost killed me. Mothers aren't supposed to do that. So you can't figure it out. Is it my fault? Is it her fault? Is there a God? Did he do this? Mother's not. You can't think your way through a trauma. It unleashes this force that seeks the truth in the most profound sense. And nobody else has said that yet. And I'm so glad you're listening to this because I had no idea how I could get this idea out. And I was thinking, should I write a paper or a book? And I don't want to do that stuff anymore. It's be all over now and just send this video to anybody who I want to get the idea to. If they want to go any further with it, I can go further.
They can just watch your video. Perfect. This is why it's so perfect.